What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Summer Career Mode. This is episode number 22. We're starting to do some stuff on the back of our win against Genoa, heading into the third Champions League group stage game thus far, taking on Chelsea, who I'd say would be the group frontrunners, alongside us, Leverkusen, and Rangers, of course, beating Bayer Leverkusen away in Germany, and of course winning in our first Champions League group game against Rangers meant it will be a battle of the top two here, both with 6 points each. So the group, I feel, heading into this third game here, to be honest, if we would win, I feel as though if you win the first 3 games in your group, you're basically through. Like, the chance of you not going through after being 100% halfway stage into the 6-game group is quite unlikely. But to be fair, if you do taste defeat, and then one of those 2 teams below with 0 points each pick up their first win, that's when you can start to get dragged back into a possible scrap for qualification in second place. So, yeah, being at home, taking on Chelsea, obviously going to be an interesting one. Dennis Wise, obviously part of the consortium, the own Como, Chelsea icon, of course, Dennis Wise. Took my team, Millwall, to the FA Cup final back in 2004 as a player manager. But anyway, yeah, we lost the game 2-0. Raheem Sterling scored the first and Frankie de Jong scored the second in the second half after a rebound. So that's exactly what I meant there. You know, halfway through the group, Chelsea now are basically through. You know, it's 3 games to go. They're 6 clear of Leverkusen. Really, 1 win in 3 should be pretty fundamentally easy for them. Whereas for us now, Bayer beat Rangers, and that means halfway through the group, well, if they were to win the reverse fixture against us here in Como and make sure the head-to-head record gets equalled or bettered in their case, remember we won the first game, I should say, away in Germany 3-1, then it means that they'd leapfrog us, and also, because their head-to-head record would also mean if we were level on points, then they would finish above us because it goes head-to-head before goal difference. So, yeah, I always feel the third game in the group is always a really interesting one. Like, if you've won your first 2 and you win the third, that's it. You're basically through at that point, really. The chance of you going out from there is quite slim. If you lose it, then you're dragged right back into the scrap. So, yeah, that's exactly what happened there. 2-0 loss to Chelsea. And the group's kind of looking exactly how I thought it would at this stage right now. Chelsea top, us second, Leverkusen third, and Rangers in 4th place. So, yeah, heading to the following game, back home, Bologna, on the back of our first loss after 3 straight wins, taking on Bologna. Drew this game 1-1. Once again conceded a rebound goal. So frustrating. I mentioned this before, like, obviously, there's a saying I often use, which is luck will balance itself out. And I am a firm believer in that, don't get me wrong, but I do feel as though, now maybe it's just me here, but I do feel as though in FIFA this year, maybe you guys are the same as me, but I tend to concede a lot more rebound goals than I score. That's just me. I do tend to concede a lot more than I score, and that one there, my second in 2, as we lost the game, so drew the game 1-1, in the following game, Milano away, San Siro, last season Serie A champions after that dramatic run to the title and winning it on the final day, where really I bottled it. I should have won it, to be fair. Yeah, taking on away at the San Siro here, looking for revenge. Harry Kane did won it for the champions as they went 1-0 up late, through the England captain. But Brian Mbolo levels it for me right at the death as the former Monaco striker. Looked it up. Former Monaco striker. Yeah, sorry about that, guys, in the last episode. But the former Monaco striker, Brian Mbolo, gets us the level there in stoppage time to ensure we would at least get a point. So, yeah, tough little run here for Como. Tough little run. No wins in our last 3 games. A couple of draws in this Serie A, and of course our first loss in Europe as well. Starting to slow down a little bit. Really good start to the season. Still chasing what would be a shock lead at the top. Now, we're 5 points off Napoli. We're in 4th place. And don't get me wrong, I know last season, again, I'll mention it, I'm happy to admit it, I absolutely bottled it, losing 2 of my final 3 games of the season, which probably been one of my worst bottled jobs of all time, if not my worst bottled job of all time, to be honest. But it still would be a shock to be leading the way, because don't forget, like I mentioned before, the Serie A, one of the reasons I love managing this is because it's such a competitive league, and there's several teams that can win it. Every single season could be a different winner for the most part in your career mode save. But we are still 4.5-star team. We've only just become 4.5-star as well. So being top of the table would be a shock. You know, even though we were so close to winning it last year, it still would be a shock for us to be top right now. But top 4 to me is what I feel like we should be targeting, hanging on to now. Like, we've become 4.5-star, which means that we are one of the very best in this country. We've got a great young team. We're developing all the time. We've brought a couple of star players for this year, including Nicolo Casale, and Bolo's hit the ground running as well. So I feel as though from now on, top 4 should be the bare minimum requirements. On the back of a poor run of form here, taking on Udinese here, back at Lake Como, God, I needed a win here after a really, really tough mini run. And after we took the lead, Udinese's cancelled out soon afterwards. With 36 minutes in, Spinazzola gets what I believe is his first goal for the club there. Certainly first goal of the season, making it 2-1 as we do get our first win after none in our last 3. Lord knows I needed that one there, because we all know with momentum being so OP in FIFA CM, when you're on like a 5, 6, 7 game win streak, you feel as though you can just win every single game, you know. But when you do lose a couple on the bounce, or you have a few slip-ups in a row, that's when your players feel stuck in the mud, and that's when you really struggle to get out of the treacle. So, yeah, big return to winning ways here, especially good for the timing too, because the following game away, West London, Stamford Bridge, taking on Chelsea. And by the way, can I just say, I tweeted about this on the weekend, Chelsea's home kit, sponsorless, is clean. Absolutely clean, mate. Seriously, I know that, you know, let's be honest here, realistically, as we do win this game, Profundi with the opening goal, and the only goal, as we tie with Chelsea on points there. And it does mean that as things stand right now, we just need one win in our final 2 to guarantee qualification alongside the Blues. But if we finish level on points, they will finish above us because they've got a better head-to-head record. We've both won 1 each away from home, but they, of course, won the game at ours 2-0, and we won the game at theirs 1-0 as well. So we're guaranteed to finish below them if we finish level on points. But anyway, Chelsea's home kit, sponsorless, absolutely clean. I mean, seriously. And again, I know that, you know, in the modern day, you can't, you know, it's not going to stay that way. Like, obviously it can't, like it just can't. With the money available, not having a sponsor is just a terrible business idea for a club, you know. But I've got to say, it just looks absolutely beautiful, doesn't it? I must say, I really wish that like clubs would sell like the sponsorless versions of their kits. I remember as a kid, you know, you could get like you know, mostly knockoff kind of like versions of like sponsorless kits. But I used to think to myself, I think they look cooler. Do you know what I mean? Like, maybe there are some exceptions. Like some sponsored kits went hard. I mean, Arsenal with the O2 on the centre. Manchester United, I always thought Manchester United's like best was actually Sharp, not Vodafone, but Sharp, going back a bit there. But I always thought that when I see sponsorless kits being donned, and there were clear knockoffs you get down the market, I used to think, those are sick. Like, those are really cool. And to me, I wish clubs would do that. I don't know whether due to, you know, deals within the stipulations of the contract between them and the big sponsors, whether they could actually do that legally. But I tell you what, if I was a Chelsea fan, that home kit was on sale right now, I would definitely buy it. It is clean. It is absolutely clean, man. Seriously. And I reckon, well, because I've seen there's leaks of the sponsor now. It's called Infinite Athlete, which I think is a shell company. I think. I might be wrong about that. But anyway, it looks just nowhere near as good. Whereas the sponsorless kit, that's sick. And the goalkeeper kit, my goodness, I'm frothing at the mouth here thinking about this, but it's beautiful, I tell you. That's what I wish clubs would do. Sell those sponsorless kits on the club store, because I'd happily pay like 10, 15, 20 quid for a shirt if I didn't have to have a chunny sponsored at a time. Let's be honest here, a sponsor can actually ruin a really nice kit design. Anyway, yeah, following game, and we managed to extend our winning run to 3 with a victory away against Sassuolo. So like I said, momentum in CM, so OP. So yeah, got the win there away against Sassuolo, and then taking on Atalanta in a nice little North Italian derby here, as the lads from Bergamo would come and take us on here at the Stadio Giuseppe Sinigaglia. Hatterberg, who of course we signed on a free agent, a Coley, you know, looking for their revenge against their former teams in this game here. We got 2-0 up early in the first half, and then, oh, this is naughty. 10 minutes to go. Alberto Villa, first time running onto the ball, across it, left foot outside of the boot, dinks it into the far corner. That was just absolute filth there from the youngster Alberto Villa. So yeah, 3-0 the final score, sorry. 4 wins in a row now for Como, and finally back on track. So, you know I sound like a broken record what I'm saying, but this is why momentum is just so key. If you ever have a bad game, if you ever have a slip up, you got to put it right in the next game, because momentum is just that OP. Once you lose 2 or 3 on the bounce, you're really going to struggle to get out of it. Once you do get yourself back to winning ways, you should feel confident of winning quite a few games in succession, because that's just how strong momentum is. So anyway, following game, aiming to extend the winning run to 5 in all competitions. Rangers away, Glasgow, going to Ibrox, a ground I've been to a few times when I was younger with my uncle, massive Rangers fan. Taking them on here away at Ibrox, heading to the game. Fell behind, to be fair, to Rangers right now, just a 1 point in the group. So really poor start to the game. But just like at Como, whilst we did fall behind to the Scottish side, I did feel as though I could turn this game on its head. Just before the break, Casale just goes coast to coast. I saw the space open up, so I thought, you know what, I might as well just run all the way there with my centre half. So I did, rolled it across, easy tap in for Colombo, and then 10 minutes after the restart, a chance to make it 2. Alberto Villa breaks the back line, sees Pat with him, and gives it straight to Cutrone, who just dinks it in and kind of mocks Connor Golton a little bit there. Which way did he go? Yeah, right into the back of the net. So yeah, 2-1, and that would put us in front. Just like in the game at Como, we came from behind to lead Rangers, surely going through from this point here, and looking for a third goal later on, 66 minutes in. Oh, Patrick Cutrone, this is just ridiculous goal, actually, ridiculous goal. Chip shots, they're not as OP as they used to be. I mean, in last year's game, chip shots were broken. Like, they were just like, you scored 99% of the time, but chip shots are still quite OP, and this is just disgusting. I mean, look how high that ball goes. It's like he was doing LeBron James impression with those fadeaways against Toronto in game 4 or 5, I think it was, back in the 2018 playoffs. That's just stupid. Absolutely stupid. I'll never forget that, man. Like, seriously, my basketball fans out there, you'll know what I'm referencing. I remember watching that game, and I literally saw him do it like once, twice, and I was like, this is ridiculous now. I'm sure he's not going to do it again. There's one where he spins away against OG Anunoby, and he spins to one side, and he goes the other, and then fades away, and it's just stupid how it just drops out. That was just like... That was a game where you literally felt like LeBron James had turned his own slide or something, man. It was ludicrous. But anyway, Pat makes it 3-1. We got a 4th goal soon afterwards. Now, a minute to go here. Rangers did get back in the game through a deflection, and the Belgian midfielder Raskin got on back as well. So he did put it back, to be fair, from 4-1 to 3-1 to make the scoreline respectable. But in the end, it did not matter in the end. Just 2 late consolation goals for Rangers. We win the game by 4 goals to 3, and that is that. A qualification in the bag with a game to go. And it means if we win the final group game and Chelsea failed to match our results, then we will qualify as group winners. In fact, even a point will do if we get a draw against Bayer Leverkusen. We guarantee top spot. But that will end this episode of the Summer Career, guys. So big fan. Hope you enjoyed it. If you have done, please do drop a like. Much love to you all. Have a fantastic day, and I will see you for the next episode of the Summer Career Mode very soon.